Welcome to a world of cyber connection. We're a small band of wannabe writers from various backgrounds, occupations, and different continents, bound together by a desire to write on topics of our choosing. We have addressed topics such as the enigma of solace, the need for respect, the person I wish I was, and excuses, and even more. We're composed of two ladies and one gent, of similar ages, all connected by having lived through Beatlemania as well as before cell phones and the internet. Bent is from Norway, Iris is from Peru, and I, David, from the USA. Our writings are all different and unique. Some are pure fiction, self-contemplation, or self-deprecating humor. Writing is pure creativity. It causes us to think and then describe. As I speak for the group, I think they would agree that we find our monthly exercise enlightening. We learn a little bit about our cyber friends as well as ourselves. Also, since we call our group Lifelines, it truly represents a reaching out from our common need to share and connect. I next want to introduce Bent and Iris, and they will talk about the topic choosing and the process.
It's amazing to think back to 1998. Iris and I met on the internet and got to know each other. And we had similar interests. We liked pictures, taking photographs, writing, and well, we talked about writing a novel, of course. That was our first idea. And we talked about it a lot, and we had plans. We wanted to be famous. We wanted to go on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and we had a lot of fun. But unfortunately, we didn't have a very good plan, so the novel wasn't going to be a hit. But we talked about things, and we even wrote some stories that we exchanged. But well, it didn't go anywhere. So then we lost touch some years, and we found each other again. After a few years, I searched on the internet and I found Iris because she had written a blog about her dog Charlie, and then we got in touch again, and we started writing, and Iris came up with this great idea that we should start a writers' club. And so we did. And well, I think we have been writing about 3.5 years maybe. And we are 3 people now, so that's very nice. The rules are very simple. We pick a topic, and each month we have a new topic, and we alternate on picking the topic, and we all write about the topic, and either it can be a short story, a fairy tale, poetry, whatever you want. But as long as you stick with the topic, it's okay. And we give each other comments. We try to be kind and optimistic, and we are trying to build on each other's good sides. So it's a lot of fun.
After listening to Bente mention 1998, I made a quick calculation, and it turns out that we have known each other for 19 years. What is amazing, though, is that we have never met, in person that is. However, thanks to the wonderful world of the internet, we have been able to keep in touch, and we have developed a close friendship. 18 years ago, we decided we'd write the novel Bente was talking about. It was going to be a #1 bestseller, and we were going to rise to fame. Bente may not remember, but we did have a plan on how we were going to do this. We were going to pretend to be a character in the novel, and then we would write our side of the story. That was a good plan and should have worked, except that we had no clue of what the novel was going to be about, so that was the end of that story. Then came 2013, and our interest in writing resurfaced. A year later, my friend David from Virginia joined us, and altogether we may have written about 100 pieces so far. I cannot say that it has always been easy. For example, the Enigma of Solace was a tough one. Paradigm Shift was another. Those were selected by Bente and David, and I remember sitting in front of my computer looking at this white screen thinking, how in the world those two came up with those topics, really? One that was lots of fun to write was Numbers. Now, it wasn't because it was my suggestion. It just happened to be a very good topic, I think. Well, in my opinion. And now, our commentaries on 3 of our essays.
This is David now talking about a topic that Bent picked. It was called The Last Dance. And of course, first thing that came to mind was Donna Summer and her song from the late 70s. But my writing pertained to a true situation, true story, and some people may think it was far-fetched, but it had to do with my parents and my family, and the fact that my parents were just about ready to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary in March of 1991. But my father got ill suddenly and passed away a month before that anniversary, and the fact that we were planning to go down and celebrate them was devastating to us all. But a year later, we went down to be with my mother and celebrate spring break, and we were going to go out to dinner in a nearby club that she belonged to. And as we sat around this big round table with my twins, Matthew and Kathy, who were 6 at the time, and Elizabeth, who was 10, my mother and my wife, there was a band playing, and we sat down to enjoy a nice evening. When out of the blue, when the waitress came, my son Matthew asked for onion rings. And we were all nonplussed because he had never really had onion rings. And I was thinking, where did that come from? The only connection I could make was my father had loved onion rings, and my mother would make them for him occasionally. So we had onion rings as an appetizer, and we enjoyed those, and we had a nice meal. And as dessert was being served, the band came back and started to play some music. And Matthew turned to my mother and said, Mama, would you like to dance? Now, he's only 6 years old, never really danced, but I thought that was very proper of him, and of course my mother said she would love to dance. And as the band played, I had the thought, and you may think it far-fetched, it was actually my father interceding to have that last dance with his bride.
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart and mind embraces all day through.
The topic was solace. I thought it was quite a difficult topic, but the images came to me, and I started describing what those images were in my mind. And the story is about a battered woman who finds solace in her tormentor's dog, and the dog also finds solace in her. So they find solace in each other. They are both abused and they both need comfort and empathy from one another. And that was quite I was very pleased with myself when I had finished the story. So it's almost magic. You get an image in your mind and you try to describe it, and it turns out to be a story. So that was my solace, my big challenge.
Not being good at fiction, when this topic came up, the only thing I could think of were the gates. Then I started thinking about the people that have already gone past them, and it occurred to me that there must be two communities residing in heaven. One community with families still on earth, I would call Alpha, and the other one with no relatives, I would call Beta. The story begins when the Alphas, worried about their families, wanted to appeal to God to provide them some relief from the disturbances afflicting Earth. However, because an appeal has to have the support of both communities, a town hall meeting is called so they be able to present their case and obtain Beta's endorsement. Confucius presided over the meeting. Steve gave everyone tablets to take notes, and Diana, the Alpha representative, began her presentation. At the end, her request met with no opposition. But Leonardo pointed out that an appeal cannot be presented by itself, that it would be necessary to present a plan of action as well. They deliberated for hours until Charlton proposed to split the Earth in two. One half would be assigned to the good guys and the other half to the bad guys. The plan received general acclaim, and all agreed it was a brilliant solution. Moses, having had experience splitting the Red Sea, was assigned to write the proposal and present it to God. Cecil, joyous and excited, invited everyone to watch his 1956 film, The Ten Commandments, while waiting for Moses to return. The story ends, leaving us in suspense, not knowing when the plan will be implemented, if at all.
Our writers group's name is Lifelines. We are a lifeline to each other. We send words over continents, 3 different continents, 3 different people, and throw them as a lifeline to each other. The words bind us together and constitutes a lifeline. I wish that people who really love to write should find like-minded people and start a group, work together, and have fun, like we have. So this was our presentation of the group. So until next time.